So thank you again for joining us today. Our webinar for today is Behind the Buzz. So it's part 2, and it's Unlocking the Power of Colorado Gives Day Nonprofit Toolkit. So we're going to get more into the specifics and answer some of your questions that you shared with us when you RSVP'd for this webinar. And we also have a special guest. So I'm excited for today, and we hope you are too. All right. So here are today's presenters, just a bunch of lovely and talented women. I'm Jordan. Hi, I think you guys know me at this point, but I'm the Nonprofit Success Manager for ColoradoGives.org. And with us today, we have Jessica Hanner, who is the VP of Marketing and Communications, Cindy Matthews, the Director of Communications and Community Outreach. We have Laura Phillips, managing editor at CBS 4. Now, she might look like part of our marketing team, but she's our special guest for today. And then we also have Lindsay, who is our digital marketing manager. So welcome, everybody, and we're so excited to have you here today. All right. So we've reviewed this a couple times by now, but we mean it. So we want to make sure this is in all of your slide decks and that you really feel it from us too, because we are seeing how much work you are putting in, especially this year. We see the long hours. We see the countless ways that you guys show up, even with limited resources for your community. And we're just so profoundly grateful that we get to work with you and lift you up through something like Colorado Gives Day. So thank you for trusting us. The agenda for today. So you'll get me for a couple minutes. Just want to touch on some timeline and reminders and talk a little bit more about Catchafire because we still have time to use it. We're going to talk about advertising and activations, the Toolkit in Action. We're going to talk about inspiration and best practices, and then news and storytelling. Some quick housekeeping for everyone. So this webinar is being recorded, and we will share the recording and the slide deck with you in a post-event email. Give us 1 to 3 days max to send that out. It will also be posted on the nonprofit resources page. So if you haven't been there yet, that is where we are, our central hub, where we're providing all the resources, toolkits, things for nonprofits. We want you to remain on mute just while we're going through the content, and then we can open it up for Q&A, and you can hop off mute and maybe turn your camera on to ask them questions. Just a friendly reminder that if you have any questions about coloradogives.org, which this is the season, please send an email to support@coloradogives.org. They are your first resource for getting any of your technical questions answered. And then, of course, this is a recording, and any of the information, stats, personal information that we're sharing, it's all fake. So as far as anything we're sharing today, it will be, we won't be sharing any personal information that would expose anyone to anything. So thank you guys for hanging in there, and we're excited to get started. Let's go. Okay. So a quick refresher on the timeline and reminders for Colorado Gives Day 2025. So this is a marathon, not a sprint, and it's going to help drive all of your donations for Colorado Gives Day and end of year. So leverage this entire timeline. It kicks off November 1st, so that's when online donations begin counting. We round the corner to December 2nd, a huge turnaround for Giving Tuesday. We saw increased numbers from last year. And so there's definitely some actions you can take to highlight that global movement for people that are giving to you for Colorado Gives Day. And then December 9th, the big day. This is where we get the big statewide 24-hour media blitz. There's power hours, leaderboards. You're communicating the push for the incentive fund. That's $1 million. And we'll talk about all these prizes on the following webinar, where we'll focus on some prize strategy. But start thinking about what you're filling in here. What are your actions that you're taking throughout this timeline to make sure that you're touching on each group of your network and inviting them to participate in Colorado Gives Day. All right, so just a quick reminder why we're all here and why we love Colorado Gives Day. So it is the largest giving day in Colorado and one of, if not the largest giving days in the country. So it is where people are at. They're showing up. They're showing up to give generously to one or oftentimes multiple nonprofits. We have and offer a $1 million incentive fund. So this is applied to all donations November 1st through December 9th. And so this, from a donor's perspective, it's free money. We are boosting their donations. Of course, this is a time for donor engagement. This is a time for new visibility. So you can celebrate with all of your returning donors, make sure they're coming back, while also getting discovered by new ones. And leveraging Colorado Gives Day and the coloradogives.org platform, that's going to create credibility and, of course, momentum. So this participation, because we've been around for 15 years, can you believe it? It's going to signal trust and inspire more donors to give. And then, of course, this is your launch pad to end of year fundraising. So we see millions and millions of dollars coming in from generous donors to nonprofits like you at the end of the year time too. So consider what you're doing for Colorado Gives Day and how that momentum rides the wave into end of year fundraising. We want to talk today about Catchafire, which we have promoted in some of our other webinars. And by promote, I just mean we want everybody to use it because it's a free subscription. And so the idea here is that you as a nonprofit can join Catchafire for free and you can get help from experts for free. So think of it as a free consultant service. If you want to learn more, we've provided some links here how to get started. So you can get started immediately. You can schedule a call with a Catchafire rep to help you get onboarded. Sometimes that's quicker than clicking around for an hour and a half, right? So just talk to a wonderful Catchafire rep and start using the platform. And then, of course, you can email their team. And the idea here is we want you to leverage this, of course, for Colorado Gives Day. What do you have on your checklist that can be checked off by someone who's a consultant, who's doing work for you for free? So we'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. Last thing here, want to make sure you know, hey, we're here today, September 24th. Can you believe it? So after today's webinar, we're going to have two more to round out our series, and it'll be incentive strategies, so our prize webinar, and then a final Colorado Gives Day checklist. So make sure to RSVP for those on the nonprofit resources page. Okay. So there is a bunch of success stories. We have, I just checked, over 900 nonprofits, nearing 1,000 actively using Catchafire. And so that means that you can hop on today, post a project, and get help with anything related to your Colorado Gives Day campaign. Maybe it's finances, maybe it's setting up automated emails, maybe it's just marketing strategy to help you grow your social media this year. So Catchafire also provides testimonials. So you can see here in these screenshots that Jill S., a volunteer, helped Meals on Wheels Fort Collins with an individual donor letter. So they just needed some help on creating a donor letter that really spoke to their brand. They saved over $1,800 by leveraging Catchafire. So the time and effort that Jill, the volunteer, put in equates to over $1,800 saved for that nonprofit. We can see in these other examples, Allison C., Executive Director of Alliance for Collective Action. Hello, if you're out there. She had a great experience with Myra, who was a volunteer, and says she's incredibly talented. She adapted our brand guidelines into gorgeous Google Slides, and so she's happy with the results from her project. And similarly, we can see down here, Jill was so excited to have worked with Kathy. So you can see that Jill is working with Meals on Wheels and also Broomfield Community Foundation to help them. So just a peek into the back end of Catchafire to see all the wonderful things that are happening. And here, this is the status of what nonprofits are doing on Catchafire right now. As you can see, it's vastly different based on what your nonprofit needs or wants to focus on right now. Big one is obviously translation. How can you expand your current marketing resources to reach a broader audience? So we have a lot of nonprofits doing translations leading up to Colorado Gives Day, marketing strategy, websites. Get a new website design through Catchafire for free. And so you can see all of the different exciting things that are happening as we lead up to Colorado Gives Day on the Catchafire platform. All right. And just a reference here to some great additional resources that you can consider as we're leading up to Colorado Gives Day. Of course, a webinar about Catchafire. So the one-on-one basics that can answer your initial questions as you're getting started. If you're uh, focusing on your compelling appeals, so talking a little differently this year to your donors, I suggest you watch the Crafting Value Propositions webinar. Similarly, if you are looking to embed a form on your website and streamline how your website accepts donations, the Optimize Website Donations webinar is for you. We also have two webinars, one on campaign email strategy for Colorado Gives Day, and then one for end of year. So these are available to you. Just click on this slide afterwards and you can watch all of those. All right. And I just want to remind everybody, now is the time to act, start planning, start getting everybody together for November 1st. So we want you to be considering early engagement because that is going to provide higher returns for your overall campaign. We want you to consider retention. So we've talked about it a lot, but bringing those folks back from last year is going to provide the biggest value for your overall campaign. We want you to consider peer-to-peer fundraising, how you're activating some folks within your network, and then monthly gifts related to the $250,000 recurring gift match that we're offering. And last but not least, okay, that's my dog in the background. Can you hear him? And last but not least, we want you to update your Colorado Gives Day logos. So the toolkit is out. So if you have outdated logos on any of your pages, any of your marketing content that has dates, we've removed those for you. So go ahead and update those as maybe your first action this month as you start planning for Colorado Gives Day. All right, guys, thank you so much for giving me a couple minutes to go over some resources that are available to you. Now we're going to get to the good stuff. I'm turning you over to Jessica Hanner to talk about advertising and activations.
Thanks, Jordan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your morning again, 2 weeks in a row for everyone who has joined us. Absolutely appreciate your time, and we do hope that we are providing helpful insight to you. So please make sure any questions, we will have a Q&A at the end, so feel free to pop it into chat if you have any questions along the way. All right, so for advertising and activation. So here's a lovely slide that shows a bit of a splattering of all of our ads that we did last year. There's more than this, but here's a highlight of where were we last year? We did bus, we did billboard, we did websites, we did print, on and on and on. So what I wanted to share with you today is what are we doing this year for 2025? And this year, we are taking an approach that is an upper and mid and lower funnel. So what we are focusing on from the foundation perspective is that upper and mid funnel. The upper funnel is looking at more increasing our reach and driving our overall awareness of Colorado Gives Day. So that's the top part. The mid funnel is going to be more tactics that are going to reach users who are likely to engage with our ads. So really driving them to coloradogivesday.org. And then that lower funnel, that's where you come in. That's where you're utilizing the toolkit. You're providing messaging and you're providing your coloradogives.org URL to your fundraising page to really get more awareness within your community for your nonprofit. You're going to reach out to your donors as well. And here's a list of what we have right now. I do have in progress in parentheses at the top because we are still working on finalizing parts of our media plan, including our in-kind as well. So, so you'll see there will be more to this list when we're finished with everything. But as of right now, this is where we did change our news partner to KCNC this year, CBS. And that is in an effort to continuously increase awareness. So we really want to get more people aware of Colorado Gives Day so they can donate to you. And so we made this shift. We will be on their TV. They'll be showing ads during the NFL, the news, Coach Prime's playbook, and also my favorite, which I think is probably the top place to be in the world, is on The Price is Right. They'll also be featuring us on their website and through their app and run of site ads, on air segments, including social posts as well, and dedicated in studio interviews. So we're super excited about this partnership, and we have great support from KCNC as well. We are also doing zoned cable TV. And what that is we're actually targeting a smaller geographic sector. So it allows us to get to areas that we can't get with some of the national or the Colorado statewide news. And we'll also be in connected TV as well, which is more of, that's what you see when you're on your smart TV or you're on your streaming devices. That's some of the ads there. And that'll be by market as well. We also will be a partnership with Entravision as well. And we will be on the Latin Grammys on TV. And they'll also include us with social posts, including TikTok posts, special co-branded meta posts as well. And we will do transit out of home. What that is it could be buses, more things with commuting, could be billboards for bus stations. And then we'll also be doing outdoor billboards as well. They are digital. And with this particular piece, what I love about it is they actually incorporate our tally for where we're at on Colorado Gives Day. So it has the ticker on the billboard, which is absolutely amazing. So more people want to keep that total moving and want to donate. And then we're also doing podcast advertising. And then KBCO will be doing some radio with newsletters, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram advertising, 5280 with some ads and links and scene listings and social posts. And then also with Colorado Sun and Colorado Springs Gazette, we'll be doing some newsletters with them to reach their audience. And Colorado Parent will be doing some print and website and some run of site ads. And then also some more traditional print and digital display as well. So this is just a quick little glimpse into what we're doing. And as I mentioned, we are still finalizing this, so not 100% final, but some of this is paid and some of it is in kind. And what in kind means is they've donated space for us to use because they are passionate about their nonprofits in Colorado. So huge thanks to all the partners who are supporting us with in kind materials as well. And now, the more exciting part, I think, I will hand it over to Cindy for activations.
Hey, everybody. I am so excited to share this opportunity with you all, just to let you know what we will be doing on Giving Tuesday, which is December 2nd. That's one of the top questions we get every year about what is, Giving Tuesday is during the Colorado Gives Day period. What do we do? Well, here's what you can do. Donors can give on Giving Tuesday, and it counts towards your Colorado Gives Day totals for the incentive fund and for those prizes. We know that donors give, because they like to be part of things. They like to be part of the movement. So on Giving Tuesday, one of the things we're doing is trying to create an experience that will generate a little buzz in 3 different communities across Colorado. We'll be in the metro area in Lakewood, we'll be in Fort Collins, and we'll be in Colorado Springs. And we're doing a drive-in laser light show activation. So people will be able to come to these locations in their cars, maybe grab a cup of hot chocolate, and watch about a 20-minute show. The events will be about an hour long. The show itself is about 20 minutes. And the show features messaging to help people understand that ColoradoGivesDay.org and Colorado Gives Day is where people can go to support any cause or any nonprofit in the state that matters to them. We want to give people a really great experience so they go home and they tell their neighbors and their family and their friends and coworkers about it, and just elevate that awareness in the final week before Colorado Gives Day. So look for more information about that. If you're in one of those communities, we hope you come out and you will join us. We're excited to see it. And we did see last year, some of you may remember if you were here participating last year, we did drone shows. And we did see a significant increase in donations on Giving Tuesday. We think is largely driven by this additional awareness and activation that's happening on that day. So we're excited about that. Hope you can come out. And we will share more information about the specific locations very soon. But these 3 communities will be the 3 communities we're focusing on. The other thing we have is every time we ask donors, why do you participate? Why do you give for Colorado Gives Day? They do it because they want to be part of the statewide movement. So this year, we are going to be offering an opportunity that when somebody gives, they'll have the chance to take a selfie that they can upload, and it'll become part of this digital mosaic of givers across Colorado. So we'll be starting that at 9 a.m. and running it through the end of the day on Colorado Gives Day, but it's just a kind of a fun, cool way to share all the real people and put some humanity in the giving, show the community of givers that make Colorado Gives Day the incredible event that it is. So those are 2 exciting activations that we're looking forward to. Okay, now we're going to spend just a few minutes talking about the Toolkit in Action. So we gave a broad overview last time. And here's something new. We heard many comments over the years about, I want a Colorado Gives Day t-shirt. I want a sweatshirt. So we are making available to our participating nonprofits a Colorado Gives Day merch store. It's going to be open and live today. So we'll share a link in the email that you receive. And you can go and choose some of these items if you want to. It's purely optional, but it's an opportunity to raise awareness about Colorado Gives Day in your own communities. We have some really fun designs and some kind of fun slogans on there. So look for that. The one thing I will kind of remind you of is if you want your items to arrive early, order early. So it does take between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the item, for you to get it. These items are printed on demand. And we're excited because we found a vendor who does 1 price shipping. So it doesn't matter what you buy, you're going to have one really low affordable rate. I think it's $5.95, regardless of how many items that you order. So we're excited about that. Look for that in your post-event email. Okay, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about inspiration and best practice. You've told us you like to see the Toolkit in action. So we're going to share some examples with you. Here are some examples from last year. One of the things that really makes using the toolkit helpful is that it visually connects your brand to the Colorado Gives Day campaign. So when you go to use the templates, here's some great examples. Really clear headlines, powerful imagery, the logo is present. You can see some different examples of ways that nonprofits have chosen impactful photos to align it with their mission and the values that they have. So here's some examples. You can take kind of a look at that more when you get the presentation, but these are some great examples of just the toolkit in action. And then some things to avoid. I always kind of think this is sort of fun. The examples on the right are fake. We're not poking fun at anybody, but these are things that we have seen in the marketplace. So when you use the toolkit, in the imagery, try to really avoid overloading with too much text. Keep the headlines and the graphics simple. And if you have other messaging, you can add that into your copy and your messaging. Avoid changing the colors. As tempting as it might be to add a filter or an overlay or something like that, it does skew the campaign and it kind of distorts the overall effect of the campaign. So avoid changing colors. Try to avoid stretching and skewing your photos or logos so that they don't appear the way that they should appear. Using low-res imagery can be another thing that you want to try to avoid doing. Keep those photos crisp. Try to choose images and photos that really show your mission. That would be great. Try to avoid using old logos and old branding, or this is, I think, the best tip we can recommend. Don't forget to use your coloradogives.org URL. Sometimes we see people direct to a non-coloradogives.org, and when people donate through those donations don't count towards your Colorado Gives Day totals. Okay, Now Jordan's going to talk just a little bit, share a couple success stories from some previous campaigns. Jordan.
Thanks all. Yeah, so just wanted to bring a little light and reality to what we're chatting about today. So we checked in with DYAO in 2023 because they were doing amazing, but also had some progressive ideas about how they might expand their campaign year over year, excuse me. And so in 2023, they were thinking, okay, we want 10K growth. We want to understand what strategy is working. We want to really highlight competition in 2024. So they were thinking about the prizes and how they were going to better market those to increase urgency for their donors. They were going to focus on the $2,000 Power Hour prizes, which are available again this year to drive donations on the day. And then they really took advantage of the trivia prize on Facebook. Also, they did a great thing and they secured 2 matching grants, one from an individual in 2023 and then one from a business. And I believe they used the first one at the beginning of the campaign and then rounded out the end of the campaign with the second match. So these are things that they deployed for their 2024 campaign. And I am here to tell you that they did an amazing job. So just to give you an idea, in 2023, they raised over $42,000. Not too shabby, but they really knew that they could activate and encourage their donors to give more. And so in 2024, they saw the efforts of their work pay off. They saw that in 2024, they raised almost $53,000 and engaged more nonprofits than in the previous year. And so it's about incremental growth that really is the focus of each of your Colorado Gives Day campaigns and each of your campaigns for all of your digital fundraising. Where can you focus your time? What are your goals? And how are you going to measure your results? So good job, DYAO, and keep it going for 2025. We're so excited for you and your growth year over year.
Okay, back to some more fun. So I am excited to share with you the 2025 Colorado Gives Day nonprofit kickoff celebration. We host this every year at the start of early giving to celebrate early giving and to show our love and our appreciation for you and everything you guys do to make Colorado Gives Day successful for Colorado. So it will be held Monday, November 3rd. From 10 to 10:30. It's still going to be virtual so that people across the state can easily participate. And it is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. So a couple new things for this year. Michelle Griego is going to be serving as our MC. She's a morning anchor with CBS News Colorado. We have Brad Montague, who is going to be our keynote speaker. Brad is a New York Times bestselling author and illustrator of books for kids and former kids like me and you, who bring hope and humanity to a wide variety of audiences. If you've ever seen Kid President series on the internet, on YouTube, he's also the creator of that series, a global social good movement called Socktober, and has a new best-selling, several new best-selling books, and a new animated show on YouTube. He's also done work on different television projects, including The Kindness Project, which was a special that he hosted for our good friends Chip and Joanna Gaines on the Magnolia Network. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be really super cool. We will also, during the kickoff, be giving you an exclusive first look at a special Colorado Gives Day social activation. You want to be sure to see that because it's going to be a ton of fun. And Southwest Airlines has generously donated 10 pairs, so pairs of tickets, round trip tickets, for you to win. So it will have a random drawing of all the attendees. You must be present to win, but then your nonprofit can use these tickets for your gala, for a silent auction item, however you choose to use them. So we're really excited to be able to give you this sort of added value when you attend and participate in the Colorado Gives Day kickoff on November 3rd. Okay, news and storytelling. I am going to share my screen really quick. just to do a quick reminder. Okay. Did y'all see my screen, the correct screen? Because I have a lot of screens up, but you should see the nonprofit resource page. Okay, perfect. So on the nonprofit resource page, as a reminder, the calendar and checklist is here. When you view the calendar, you'll see some of the dates that I'm talking about. We do have when we'll be putting out news releases and advisories and things on here, so you have that awareness. What I want to remind you of, in case you weren't at the last meeting, the last webinar, is inside the toolkit, we do have the key messages. And then we have proclamations and news release templates. So this sample proclamation is something you can use with your local city council, your county commissioners, other groups that may want to pass a proclamation declaring Colorado Gives Day. It's easily customizable for your community, so take a look at that. And then we have a sample news release. So it includes the key messages, but we really encourage you to customize it for your organization to help it engage and invite your local media to participate as well. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the screen. And here are some of the upcoming news release dates that we just want to kind of share with you. Oh, next slide, Jess. Okay, here we go. So news outreach opportunities. So around November 3rd, we'll be doing a news release announcing early giving is open, talking about Colorado Gives Day on December 10th, some of the cool things that are happening. We do have a press kit that we'll be sending out mid-month before the Thanksgiving holiday. So it just gives the our news media partners all the information they need about Colorado Gives Day. We'll do a reminder advisory around November 20th, reminding them of the laser light shows and that Colorado Gives Day is coming up. And then at midnight, right after midnight, we do a news release out to all of our media partners with the preliminary Colorado Gives Day results. So that total amount raised that appeared on the ticker on the website, we follow it up a little later after all the numbers have been reconciled, but we do that preliminary news release at midnight on Colorado Gives Day. And then in the presentation, you'll get these key links to share your events, the Colorado Gives Day Toolkit, and the planning calendar. The link event, I just want to point out that if you have events that you're doing in your community with your nonprofit to raise awareness about Colorado Gives Day, tell us about it. We often get questions from reporters who are like, do you have anything coming up? We want to go shoot something. We need some B-roll, some video. So if you have those events, fill out that form, share it with us so that we can actively pitch those on your behalf and try to drive additional awareness. Okay, here's now the fun part. I am just going to briefly introduce Laura Phillips. She is the managing editor at CBS News Colorado. That means she oversees the daily news operations and the investigative reporting team. She also coordinates coverage for special events, and she's been working in the Denver TV market since 2006. So we are so lucky and so blessed to have such an incredible expert with us today. So we're going to turn it over to Laura. She's going to go through some information, that best practice and ideas for you. And then we'll have opportunity to go into question and answers with Laura and any of the content we've provided today immediately after. Laura, it's all yours.
Thank you. I am really excited that CBS News Colorado is a partner this year. This is a push that we can really get behind. We love supporting, local organizations in our community and then, statewide. So I know my boss especially is very excited to be part of this group. And as we mentioned, so I've been in Denver TV for about 19 years. I work a lot with reporters. So not just working with reporters, but I am also all the time looking for stories and looking at what's going on right now and in the future. Some of the places I look are social media. I'm constantly reading the competition, looking at all the TV and newspapers, and then emails. And I can show you, we get a lot of emails. This is just a really quick look at our CBS News or KCNC News email box on a Monday. I don't even know how many emails are in here. This is just one of the email addresses that we have. So I think kind of goes to show that some of the emails can enter a void, and it's hard to see them. So hopefully I can help you guys find a more targeted approach to finding the right people to talk to so you can have your pitches heard. So up next, what we're looking for. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today has to do with TV because that's what I know. It's what I've been doing for a long time. So our biggest priority when we're looking to do a story is making sure it's a character-driven, compelling story with broad appeal. Broad appeal. I know some organizations, you're really local, you're really specific to what you're trying to raise money for, but I do think there's ways to make your pitch more appealing to a wider audience. I was looking online, we have the Long Hopes Donkey Shelter, and I think maybe initially, donkey rescues is kind of a narrow appeal, but then you have a really heartwarming story. You're going to have great video of these donkeys, and I think it's really cool that you can bring your family on a tour. So it's also appealing to, Colorado families looking for affordable family activities. So I think that that's something you could kind of play up as I was just kind of looking around at different nonprofits. And then I talk about a character a lot. That's someone that the viewers can connect to, which is huge. If I can see myself in that position or I can see a family member, and I can relate to this person, then I think, much more likely to choose a story to put on TV. And then I think the viewers are more likely to donate. Just great characters offhand would be like a veteran who has received the service dog, new parents getting their baby gear, seniors getting home renovations, just being able to see your nonprofit in action and who it's helping. So that's huge for us putting the story on TV. And then, as I said, I think helping the viewers really connect. And then I do have a note that more than a CEO type interview, I think especially for some of the bigger nonprofits, I know your CEOs are awesome and they're great people, and they're just not our favorite people to put on TV sometimes. Maybe they can have a little part of the story, but I think it's really important to show kind of the people in the trenches. And maybe that's a volunteer, not just someone who's receiving the services, but someone who volunteers their time. The caveat to that is if you have a smaller nonprofit where your founder might have a great story. There's a nonprofit called Deserving Dental. And I see the founder started the nonprofit from their own powerful personal experience. So I think, in that case, it's less of a CEO type person, but your founder has a great story that they could share and bring emotion to the story. So it's not hard and fast, no CEO, but like I said, just really try and think about creating an emotional connection to the audience. And that's, what we're looking to bring to TV. Next slide. How to make a solid pitch. I know this seems super basic, who, what, when, where. But just this morning, I was looking at an event, I got a press release, maybe we'll go cover it. I could not find a time anywhere. So I go to the website, which is not hard, but it'd just be really helpful if it was laid out in bullet points for me. So this press release that I pulled up isn't about an event that they were asking us to cover. So it's a little bit about what's happening. I highlighted, you don't really need to read it. I highlighted the area that says who's going to be there. Students and volunteers are available for interviews, and the garden will provide B-roll. So that really helps me as a visual medium know what I'll be able to gather out there for a TV story. And then the very simple what, where, who, and when blatantly laid out for us. And the next page is an even better pitch. This is not necessarily a day of an event coverage, but this is more of an evergreen type story, we call it. So this is, I think, what you guys might be pitching nonprofits to us. We talked about you have this 6-week-ish window between November and December for coverage to promote your nonprofit. So this could be a story you send out and say, look, we have this nonprofit, and then this is the person who you could highlight. And here's a little bit about Susan. Here's pictures. I can click on the narrative to learn more about her. it also explains to me what this nonprofit is and some statistics. So, and these are just 2 emails that I looked through my inbox and found recently. I have no affiliation with either of these groups, but I thought that these were both really good pitches that we've gotten recently. Sorry, I'm trying not to read the chats as they come in, getting distracted. Other ideas to think about are different coverage options. When it comes to at least TV, right, we have a package, which is like a 2-minute story that's pre-produced. We have interviews, we have B-roll. It can be longer. That's usually a reporter who does that story. You also have what we call a VOSAT, which is just some video and a sound bite. So maybe if you don't have that great character, you don't have a whole lot to show right now, a VOSAT is another option because it's very easy for me to have a photographer go out, do a quick interview and get some video. That's not an all-day affair. That's something that maybe a 2-hour commitment for us, and I can get a couple of those every day. Options, live interview, possibly, if there's an event happening and you think it could be a good live interview, maybe during a morning show, if the reporter is out there, pre-recorded interviews that we could turn around, on-set guest. At CBS News Colorado, we typically have on-set guests at 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Maybe a 2.5-minute interview. They're on set, some Q&A. We can maybe get some video or visuals ahead of time to air during that interview. And we honestly did not have on-set guests very often. And now that we have launched the 9 and the 4 in the last year or two, we're doing that more. I know a lot of the stations in this market have added a lot of news and a lot of streaming newscasts. So I think there is a lot more opportunity for on-set guests and on-set interviews than there ever have been. I think Channel 9 is doing like 10 to noon online now. Fox is on the air all day, every day. So a lot of room for content. So on-set guests, maybe a lot of us have streaming channels now where we don't have time limits. So that's an opportunity. Maybe if we did kind of a longer pre-recorded interview, you could just air that in its entirety on the website or social media. And then there's obviously newspaper articles and website articles as well. So I think if you're able to pitch, I think probably the most exciting thing is to have someone pick up a TV package, because then it does live on social and it does live on the website, but there's tons of other options that still get your message out there. So I think about those. What is next? And then on the note about newspapers, think about your hyper local outlets. I know that these nonprofits are from around the state. Durango doesn't maybe have the best TV coverage, but you've got newspapers. And I think you guys talk about this in your marketing plans, but there's different newsletters. My HOA puts out a newsletter. There's tons of small newspapers just all around the state. And then I don't know if they pick stuff up at different Facebook groups too. But I think you guys have a better social plan than I'm ever going to present. But I would say try and think outside the box, as well as, there's more than just the Denver Post and CBS News Colorado. And then some of the questions I've already received: how can we best connect with media to see if an interview is possible? I would say call the newsroom. You saw how many emails we get. Those go into a black hole sometimes, depending on who's working. If you're able to call the newsroom and ask, A, if you want an on-set guest, who books the guest? Or B, ask about reporter beats. So you have different reporters covering all kinds of different stories. And if you're able to say, I have a story, my organization really helps people with homelessness and housing. I'm pretty sure Channel 7 has a reporter dedicated to homelessness and housing. So they can get you in touch with that reporter. I think you're going to be much more likely to catch their ear and get some response to your pitch. If you want to hit one more, I'll show you how we do it at CBS News Colorado. Who books guests? Basically, any executive producer can. If you call our assignment desk and say, I'm looking for a 9 a.m. guest, or I'm hoping to have someone on the guest for 9. I can help, or I think my executive producer, Anna, is on here, anyone, but basically any of the executive producers can, is for our reporters, we do community reporters assigned geographically. So we have all the different metro counties, Denver metro counties, as well as northern Colorado and the mountains. So if you say I am a nonprofit based in Jefferson County, then I would say, oh, let me get you in touch with Andrew Hobner. And that's probably the best way to get, you know, an in the newsroom. So all this, most of the stations have beats. You just got to find out what they are and who covers them. Next question, how do small nonprofits get media attention? In my opinion, size should not matter. I think as long as you have a compelling story to tell, media should be willing to share it. I know personally in our newsroom, we would never decide coverage based on the size of the organization. If you say, you know, we're a small nonprofit, but we have this great mission and we have this great story to tell, we're willing to cover it. So I don't know if that's the best advice, but I don't think size should matter. I think as long as you have people willing to talk, then we want to put those stories out there. What is the best way to prepare a press kit ahead of Colorado Gives? I see Cindy showed us you guys have a great outline for people to follow, so that's really helpful. My two top pieces of advice are contradictory, I know. Be ready to say yes immediately. In TV, you know, you could hit someone's inbox and they don't have a story that day and they'll call you and say, hey, I saw your pitch, I want to do this and I want to do it for the 5 o'clock news. So can you talk in 3 hours? And if you say no, it's like, maybe we'll try and circle back, but sometimes we're ready to go right away. And I'm sorry that you're kind of at that mercy, but then also be ready to wait because maybe that reporter has stories lined up for the next week, but they want to schedule something ahead of time, or, you know, they call you later and then ask for an immediate interview. But yeah, be ready to say yes immediately. That's kind of one of my biggest, that's number 3, have your character and your nonprofit representative lined up. It's hard when we call and say, hey, I got your pitch. I'd love it if we could talk to the mom receiving the newborn goods. And you're like, all right, let me make calls and see if I can find someone. I think that's hard on everyone. And I know it's probably also hard to have someone lined up and say, would you be willing to talk? I don't know if it's going to be a story or not, because you don't want to give someone hopes up, but it's really helpful. I think if you have in the back of your mind, who would want to, for my case, speak on camera. That's another thing. You know, we are, as a visual medium, doing these interviews on camera. And some people maybe receiving nonprofit help are a little reluctant to go on camera and share their story. And I get that, but maybe in that case, a newspaper or a different non-TV outlet would be better. And then on that note, consider the visual elements as a TV outlet. What can we show? If you want a 2.5 minute story, I need 2.5 minutes worth of video. This is what type of Colorado Gives Day stories do reporters tend to cover as packages and top of mind topics. So I directly ripped this off from Colorado Public Radio. I left their graphic up there, and they're using information from the Colorado Health Foundation Pulse Poll, just kind of looking at what people are concerned about. I don't think any of this is surprising to anybody. And you guys as nonprofits understand this better than anyone. But I think if we're able to look at cost of living, housing, healthcare, you know, drug overdoses, mental health, if this is what our viewers are concerned about, then I think if I'm able to do a story on these, you know, different issues, then I'm more likely to have viewers watching because they can relate to it, is our theory. You know, if I'm at home, if I'm worried about paying my own bills, then I'm more likely to watch a story about help for paying bills, I guess would be. But I don't think, I think that's present. What's a story archetype or angle that used to be a shoo-in for airtime, but is now less appealing? Zoom. we don't love Zoom interviews anymore. They're great for a forum like this. Zoom has so many amazing applications. It is not amazing for creating a connection to the audience. I think that if viewers at home are watching someone like kind of blurry in front of their TV camera, they're way less likely to connect with that person. And I don't think it does anyone much justice to do interviews on Zoom. If they're absolutely necessary, we do, but we are really, really trying to step back from Zoom or any virtual interview. We want to do it in person because I just think that creates a much more compelling story. And then I think we're sharing all this. So this is my personal email, and my partner in crime is a guy named Jeff Todd. He is the executive producer of planning. His email. Your reporter is how we get a hold of our reporters. And then that bottom email is the inbox that I showed you. So not that nobody looks at it. It's just, it's a tough one to get noticed in. Hopefully I did not ramble too much, but that is what I have.
Thank you, Laura. That was incredibly helpful. Thanks for answering those questions as well. I had a couple that, or I actually have one question that I'd love your insight on, Laura, that we got from a nonprofit. They said, can you give some ideas for sharing our story without making our organization a target in this current political climate? We serve quite a few participants who are part of a vulnerable and targeted population. How do we share our compelling story in a safe way?
This is something we are dealing with a lot too. There are, other options. I think if you're worried about a specific location, like let's say you are a home for, transgender teens, and that you don't want to put it out there. Like we could do the story in the home without showing where it is at all. We wouldn't even say, you could maybe say the city, but we wouldn't have to do outside shots, show the street, show the address. Trying to make locations as anonymous as possible is definitely something we can do. Or do the interview offsite. And then I spoke about how having someone's face on TV is the best way to connect with viewers, but there are other options. In the same story, maybe the volunteer would be willing to put their face on TV, but one of these teens, if they want to talk, you just shoot their hands and their feet and not show faces and not use last names. We understand the climate right now, and we don't want to put anyone in danger, but I think we can be a lot more flexible with that. Like I said, it obviously is preferred to have someone's face on TV, but if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And then I see specifically about ICE concerns. So like the immigrant communities, what we're asking right now. Oh man, what does that say?
Yeah, it says they're worried about ICE and undocumented participants.
So I don't know if you know, and I think Anna's on here, did an entire special last year called McMean in the Middle. We were looking at the influx of the migrant community on one specific school in Denver. And I think what helped is we did a great job of building trust with the community. And then also, I don't think we gave their last name in the stories or any identifying factors. Like I said, you can try and shoot as anonymous as possible and not showing, where people are necessarily living or working. And we've done quite a few stories. And I do think part of it is having to trust the media and trust the reporter and laying out there ahead of time, this is a fear of ours. What can we do as a team with the reporter and the interviewee to make sure that they feel comfortable and safe? And then if you don't feel like you're going to get that, maybe you have to nix the interview, and that stings. But I think generally everyone in this profession just wants to help people and tell stories, and they'd be willing to make concessions to keep everyone safe. So like I said, there's a lot of options for doing more anonymous interviews. But
Thank you, Laura. I know that's a sensitive question, and I'm sure you guys are dealing with a lot of the same concerns. So thank you. Cindy, was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
Sure, I would offer a couple other suggestions. Laura touched on one of them earlier about letting trusted messengers speak. So if you have a volunteer who can share their perspective on how things have changed or the experience that they've had, or a partner who can speak about why the work that you do matters to that broader community. You can also shift the focus a little bit. So it's to focus on mission and impact first and identity second. So it's, for example, instead of just saying we serve undocumented immigrants, you might say we help families who are new to our community access housing and food and opportunities to thrive, so that you're focusing on those shared values and a broader understanding and shared language without using divisive and polarizing language. A couple other suggestions is trying to maybe look more broadly at the impact stories. So instead of focusing on just an individual, maybe you're focusing on that big picture transformation story. So last year you helped 500 families find safe housing, or 200 people were able to find stable jobs. So you can kind of broaden that a little bit to show the broader human appeal. And then I think maybe one other sort of nuance is just connecting the story to widely shared community values. So avoiding those hot button words that tend to divide, and focusing on things that universally people support, like stability and safety and opportunity and health and dignity. That kind of frames the issue or your mission more broadly as community good instead of as a partisan issue that might be a little more divisive. So paying attention to some of that language can be really helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cindy. That's great. Just focusing more on what we share and what we have in common, I think, is always going to be a good approach. Before we let Laura go, I know she's got a busy day ahead of her. So is there anyone who'd like to come off camera and off mute to ask her any last questions?
The question, Laura? If we don't have video, but we have some really amazing photography, are you guys always open to having that kind of imagery to help tell the story?
Yep, and that's the other thing, is a lot of things you guys are able to provide, which is great if it's home video or home or pictures that you have offhand. That is really helpful. And then we can come out and take video too if it's a possibility. But yes, photographs work awesome as well. And if you are taking video for TV, please go horizontal. Social media is vertical. We would love horizontal.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Any other final questions for Laura?
Laura, I was curious, do you prioritize nonprofits that have an event, something specific to talk about when you're highlighting a story or some action, or does that not matter as much?
I think in this case, for the Colorado Gives campaign that we have coming up, I think that is the event, to be honest. I think all the stories we would be doing could be pushing ahead to this, 5 weeks of giving, Colorado Gives Day. So I think that counts as an event personally for this. But in general, I don't think you need an event. You might need what we would call a news peg. Why is this relevant now really helps. I talked about a story that we had done on the nonprofit that helps repair homes for seniors in Jefferson County. So it's helpful if you can say, a new survey comes out that, and I'm making this up, Jefferson County's population is aging, one of the fastest in the state, and they're also seeing a housing, shortage. So they're staying in their homes longer. So if you have some statistics to kind of back up and make it very relevant, that helps a lot. Yeah, I do a lot of Googling to find things like that. If you are trying to find a news pack, sometimes it can help to just kind of look around and find different statistics. And that's kind of what I talked about too, with making stories with a broader appeal, is making it seem more urgent.
Great, good insight. Thank you, Laura. Any other news-related, media-related questions? And if not, we can let her go, and then we do have some time if you want to stay on and ask our team some questions related to Colorado Gives Day, we can do that too. Going once.
See, we had a couple of questions. It's not news related, so if Laura has to hop off, that's cool too. But we did have a couple questions in chat about the Good for Business Challenge. And so, Jordan, I don't know if you want to just give a high-level overview about the challenge and what that is and how it works, but that might be helpful for people on the call.
Of course. Well, first I'll just say, Laura, thank you so much. And bye-bye. There she goes. Yes. So one element of Colorado Gives Day that we offer and hope everybody in some shape or form takes advantage of is the business challenge. So there's an incentive provided by Delta Dental for every business that is participating. And that incentive is going towards the nonprofits that they're highlighting. So the incentive isn't for the businesses, it's for you. And so you're participating in the business challenge by asking your business partners, maybe just local businesses that you go to coffee for before your staff meeting every month. But you're asking them to create a group giving page on Colorado Gives, free, takes a couple of clicks. And then from there, we are helping the business to set up their page correctly, highlight one or multiple nonprofits, and get ready for Colorado Gives Day. So they get their own page to promote one or multiple nonprofits, which they're so excited about too. And so by participating in the business challenge, your job would be to identify businesses and send them to the business giving page to create a group page. They might also have one from last year, which is great. And they can just include you or add you to their current group giving page. So it's an exciting way to partner with businesses without them having to write you, a $5,000 check. This is a way for them to promote and provide a chance for employee giving. So anyway, if you can tell, I'm excited about it. So I hope you guys take advantage of it and think through who in your network you can loop into the business challenge this year.
Thank you, Jordan. We also had some questions in chat about prizes, power hours. I'm going to do a shameless plug for our October 9th webinar, because if you do have questions or want to learn more about prizes and how you can leverage them to drive more donations, that is going to be what Jordan will cover on October 9th. So make sure you head to the nonprofit resource page to RSVP for that.
Yes. And just in general, power hours happen on December 9th, but you can prep all of your folks ahead of time. Okay, guys, we're doing this hour, power hour. And if we don't win that one, here's our backup power hour on Colorado Gives Day. And so it becomes a milestone for you to, maybe you're actually picking up the phone and calling folks. I hear a lot of nonprofits doing that on Colorado Gives Day, or maybe it's blast emails to encourage folks to give at that time. So the power hours are really, one nonprofit wins it per hour, but all nonprofits can leverage it in their marketing to drive more donations. So it's pretty exciting.
Awesome. Any other questions related to Colorado Gives Day or media that we can address?
We have there we go. We had a question in the chat from Nicole. Hi, Nicole. And and Cindy looks like she answered it here. It's just more information about the business challenge. So that does live in the toolkit. And then if you need just more information about business giving, philanthropy, we did a study on business giving in Colorado. I'm going to drop in our business giving link. That is also where a business can go to create their group giving page.
And there's resources for you to pitch the business partners you have. And then once they come on board, we have resources and tools they can use to raise awareness about their page and invite their employees and vendors and whoever to participate and support you. So there's toolkits for everybody.
Anything else? If not, we will let you, oh, we have one. What is the deadline to set up your page?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Lauren. So you should be updating your page now, and your page is searchable year round. So you really don't want it to be outdated. You want that to be something on your checklist that you're updating as your other campaigns or new branding for 2026 is happening. Your page should reflect your website and your branding. So that being said, you can update your page at any time. Log in as an admin, and you can head to the organization section to update your public facing information. Now, you might be asking about Colorado Gives Day. So this year we are not closing registration. And so you can get your page up and running anytime, now through December 8th and be included in the prizes and leaderboards on Colorado Gives Day. That said, why miss out? So the sooner you can get your page updated, live and accepting donations, the better from my perspective. And let us know if you need help. Your first point of contact is support@coloradogives.org.
Jordan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any examples of a group giving page that you could share?
Yeah, I sure do. And they are also on the business giving page, but let me go ahead and open one for us and share my screen. Okay, so I'll go not into edit mode. Can people see my screen? Okay, great. So this is a Colorado business, and they did obviously a fabulous job last year. Their goal was $20,000, and they knocked that out of the park. So they did a really great job with employee giving and featuring multiple nonprofits. So as you can see, it's really easy for the business. They're sticking a logo in there. They're sticking a nice banner image or a default one that we provide. They're adding a goal if they have one. And then the big action item that you want to make sure businesses do and that we want to make sure businesses do is highlight one or multiple causes. So this page is tracking if employees are landing here and donating to these causes. So it's a pretty great resource for businesses to also gain insight on what their employees and network is interested in giving to. It also allows businesses not to have to pick a favorite. That's a big thing I hear from businesses. Oh, I support multiple nonprofits throughout the year. Well, this is the page that answers that question. It allows them to feature multiple nonprofits. So this is just one example of a business page. And keep in mind, this is from 2024. So we're going to be reaching out to these folks and saying, hey, update your page and helping them to set up their page and restart their metrics for 2025.
Beautiful, thank you. Laurel, yes, you can have more than one business highlight you. Get as many businesses as you can to represent your organization. Absolutely. There was one question, who can we contact to make sure they have some help setting up their page? I think this is for an organization page. Oh, you're on mute, Jordan.
The question was to set up their organization page?
I think it's just to make sure that it's all in place. I think the to-dos.
Yeah, so I would say step one is I go over best practices in webinar 1 and 2 of this series. So that's all on the Nonprofit Toolkit if you want to watch it on your own. The support team can answer specific questions. We have FAQs as well. And then, of course, I'm available if you want to schedule time. All of our calendars are booking up, so I dropped my link in there. Feel free to grab 30 or 60 minutes just to chat through your strategy and your organization page. So lots of resources available for you.
Awesome. I think we've addressed everything in chat. If there's any last minute questions that want to trickle in. All right, friends. Well, thank you so much. We are honored to partner alongside you in this process. Truly, it's a joy of ours to just hold your hand through this and help you with your campaigns. So if there's any further questions, you can always reach out to us anytime. We're here for you. So thank you so much, and we will let you go and enjoy the rest of your day.